Before we begin this presentation of Shakespeare's Othello, we have some concerns that we would like to share with you. There has been a recent increase in mortality rates from an everyday household object, and this object is to be avoided at all costs. For those of you who have not discovered what this object is, we would like to warn you of the pillow. This menacing object has been the instrument of thousands of murders. Even the strongest man alive cannot withstand from this evil fluff.
According to our statistics, 10,375 people have been killed each year from suffocation by the pillow. In a more technical sense, 864 people per month, or 28 people per day, have become victims. The first documentation of this type of homicide was first portrayed through Shakespeare's dramatic play, Othello. Our presentation contains violence of the pillow, so be warned. No human beings were harmed in the making of this presentation.
Shakespeare was born in Stratford-upon-Avon in 1564. Very little is known about his life, but by 1592 he was in London working as an actor and a dramatist. Between 1590 and 1613, Shakespeare wrote at least 37 plays and collaborated on several more. Shakespeare died in 1616 and was buried in Stratford-upon-Avon. To this day, William Shakespeare is known as one of the most famous writers in the history of English.
Shakespeare based Othello on a story in a collection of tales called Hecatomachy, written in 1565 by Giraldi Cinthio in Italian. William Shakespeare's theater group, the King's Men, first performed Othello at London's Whitehall Palace on November 1st, 1604. The main character, Othello, is an African American and is referred to as the Moor throughout the play. Moor is a name given to black men with a usual Muslim background. In 1604, the role of Othello was played by a white actor named Richard Burbage in blackface makeup. It wasn't until 200 years after the first performance of this play that a black actor was finally cast as the lead. African-American Ira Eldridge became the first black man to play the character of Othello.
Othello has been adapted into movies several times in 1952, 1965, and 1989. The most modern movie of Othello was released in 1995 and was the first major screen production. Othello has made quite a few appearances on television from 1955 to 2008 in several different adaptations. Also, there have been numerous opera variations of the play, and in 1949, Mexican choreographer José Limón created a 4-character ballet of Othello.
Now it is time to introduce you to the plot and characters of this play.
Othello is the main character in this tragic play, and he is an extremely respected African-American general of Venice. Othello has several acquaintances, and among them is his very ambitious friend named Iago. Iago has been hoping for some kind of promotion for a very long time now, and since he and Othello are such good friends, he thinks it is in his reach. As an important figure among the people of Venice, Othello shocks Iago by promoting Michael Cassio, who is one of Othello's soldiers, to a very honorable position of personal lieutenant.
This makes Iago unbelievably jealous. To get revenge, Iago starts a malicious plan against Othello, telling him that his lover, Desdemona, is not faithful to him. To do this, Iago plans several false events that trick Othello into believing the lie. First, Iago stages a conversation between Cassio and himself that sounds a lot like Cassio admitting to adultery with Desdemona, even though he is speaking of another woman. Iago also tells Othello that he overhears Cassio dreaming of his relationship with Desdemona. Then Iago tricks Emilia, his wife and maid of Desdemona, into giving the handkerchief to him, so that he can plant it into Michael Cassio's possessions. Emilia and Desdemona have known each other for a very long time, so they are good friends and really care for each other. Othello had given Desdemona the handkerchief on their honeymoon, and it had originally been his mother's, so Iago knows the importance behind it. Othello and Desdemona had just eloped, but once Othello sees the handkerchief with Cassio, he immediately becomes suspicious of his new wife. We will be performing Act 5, Scene 2 of Shakespeare's Othello.
Who's there, Othello?
I, Desdemona.
Will you come to bed, my lord?
Have you prayed tonight, Desdemona?
Yes, my lord.
If you bethink yourself of any crime, unreconciled as yet to heaven and grace, solicit for it straight.
Alas, my lord, what do you mean by that?
Well, do it, and be brief. I will walk by. I would not kill thy unprepared spirit, No heaven forfend, I would not kill thy soul.
Talk you of killing?
Aye, I do.
Heaven have mercy on me.
Amen with all my heart.
If you say so, I hope you will not kill me.
Think on thy sins.
They are loves that I bear to you.
Aye, and for that thou diest.
That death's unnatural that kills for loving. Alas, why gnaw you so your nether lip? Some bloody passion that shakes your very frame. These are portents, and yet I hope they do not point on me.
Peace and be still.
I will so. What's the matter?
The handkerchief which I so loved and gave thee, thou gavest to Cassio.
No, by my life and soul, send for the man and ask him.
Sweet soul, take heed. Take heed of perjury. Thou art on thy deathbed.
Aye, but not yet to die.
Yes, presently. Therefore confess thee freely of thy sin. For to deny each article with oath cannot remove nor choke the strong conception that I groan withal. Thou art to die.
Then Lord have mercy on me.
I say, Amen.
And have you mercy too. I never did offend you in all my life, never loved Cassio but with the general warranty of heaven as I might love, and never gave him token.
By heaven, I saw my handkerchief in's hand. O purged woman, thou dost stone my heart, and makest me call what I intend to do, a murder, which I thought a sacrifice. I saw the handkerchief.
He found it then. I never gave it him. Send for him hither. Let him confess the truth.
He hath confessed.
What, my lord?
He hath used thee.
How unnaturally.
I.
He will not say so.
His mouth is stopped. Honest Iago hath ta'en order for it.
Oh, my fear interprets. What, is he dead?
Had all his hairs been lives, my great revenge had stomach for them all.
Alas, is he betrayed, and I undone?
O strumpet, weepest thou for him to my face?
Oh, banish me, my lord, but kill me not.
Down, strumpet.
Kill me tomorrow, let me live tonight.
Nigh if you strive.
But half an hour.
Being done, there is no pause.
But while I say one prayer.
It is too late. Emilia knocks on the door soon after Othello smothers Desdemona. Othello lets her in, but tries to conceal Desdemona because he thinks she is already dead. Emilia soon finds out that Desdemona is already dead, and Desdemona speaks her last words. Emilia calls out for help, so Iago and some of his men come. Through Emilia's accusations and the piecing together of the story, Othello discovers that Iago was behind it all. The proof of his plan was shown when Emilia admitted to bringing Iago Desdemona's handkerchief.
Othello falls weeping on the bed that contains the body of his dead wife. Iago stabs Emilia for telling Othello about his plots, and then Emilia dies. Iago flees quickly from the scene, leaving Othello alone with the two dead women. When Iago returns in custody, Othello stabs him, only wounding him. Othello stabs himself and then states that he will die upon a kiss. Othello falls onto the bed with his wife's body and takes his last breaths. Cassio then becomes the temporary leader of the troops at Cyprus, and Iago is taken into custody, and his crimes were judged back in Venice.
The influence of this scene shows how you shouldn't jump to conclusions without knowing the full truth of a situation, and demonstrates how it's impossible to see the truth when jealousy gets in the way. The scene represents how no matter what Desdemona does or says, there is no convincing Othello because he is blinded by his jealousy and does not see reason. Shakespeare's play Othello has many important themes. Appearance versus reality is a theme that reoccurs often throughout this play. When it comes to Othello, he thinks that the only reason to believe something is true is to actually see it with your own eyes. Proof of the truth is visual. Othello sees mental images of Cassio and Desdemona together only because Iago planted those mental pictures in his mind. The appearance of Cassio and Desdemona's affair makes Othello believe that it is reality when it is not. When Othello sees his handkerchief with Cassio, It is proof that leads him to
This whole
believe
play
in a
is
lie.
based off of the routine jealousy that each character suffers from. It is a great way to see that jealousy can take over the mind and force it to see what it wants to see, even if it is not there. Othello killed Desdemona out of his jealousy of the so-called love affair she and Cassio were a part of. Othello only had this idea in his head because Iago was jealous that Othello gave the job he wanted to Cassio, so he chose to get revenge on the two men. Othello's mind was beyond seeing reason of his ridiculous notion that his wife was having an affair. His jealousy made it impossible for him to understand the truth, and no explanation would penetrate the wall of jealousy he had created. In the end, the idea of jealousy destroys both Othello and Desdemona and a few other minor characters. The idea of prejudice in society is at the base of this tragedy. Othello is unaware of how deeply his own personality has succumbed to racial prejudice. He is so quick to believe the lie Iago has planted in his head because of his own insecurities. Even though he married Desdemona, he has had nagging thoughts in the back of his mind that cause a lot of doubt. I am not worthy of Desdemona. She does not really love me. She is too pure for me. Desdemona does not carry the prejudice that Othello does, so she does not understand how Othello could believe such lies. His insecurities are what ultimately cause him to believe the truth that is actually fake.
While researching this classic play, we found a very insightful professional assessment by Harold Bloom. He says, Iago, even more totally the master of his play, is at last undone by Emilia, whom Shakespeare revised into a figure of intrepid outrage, willing to die for the sake of the murdered Desdemona's good name. Shakespeare had something of a tragic obsession with the idea of a good name living on after its protagonist's death. He also said, while the great tragedy of Othello is very much the tragedy of Othello, the African commander of mercenaries for Venice, it is really Iago's play. Iago plots the entire drama as it goes along. He is the only figure who gets anything started, and he would have gotten his way entirely if he had not overlooked the goodness of his wife, Emilia.
Kenneth McLeish and Stephen Unwin's also have some professional insight. They say that Othello is the most domestic of Shakespeare's tragedies. Its focus is not on the fall of a king, the collapse of a nation, the agony of a prince, or the contradiction between love and duty. Rather, it is about the end of a marriage and a husband's murder of his own wife. It is intimately concerned with the details of sexual jealousy, how it is sparked, how the flames are fueled, and how it brings down catastrophe on the protagonist's shoulders. The poetry and formal control of Othello makes it as organized as a symphony. Scholars rightly talk of the Othello music. In particular, this quality is signaled by the soaring language that Othello and Othello alone is given to speak. In marked contrast, for example, to Iago's style, which is witty, ironical, matter-of-fact, and ruthless.
We also agree with Kenneth McLeish and Stephen Unwin's positive remarks of this play. We found Othello to be extremely interesting with its twisted truth and unbelievable jealousy. The themes of this play are ones that can be easily applied to today's world. Issues of jealousy and prejudice are still true today. Unlike many Shakespeare's plays, there are less characters to deal with, and this made the comprehension of the play a lot easier.
While making this presentation, we found it extremely helpful to watch the 1994 version of Othello. This gave us a great visual to what is actually happening in the play. Our No Fear Shakespeare book was also a great use. From this book, we were able to better understand the lines that we were actually saying. Compared to other Shakespeare plays we have read in class, we like this one the very best. Othello is a Shakespeare classic with a capturing storyline and valuable themes. Thanks for watching our presentation.
Yeah! Booyah! No. Okay.
Oh, God. Golly, Miss Molly.
Hey, okay. Are you guys ready?
No.
Well, that's not a good response.
He had all his hairs.
Okay.
What, is he dead?
He had all his hair.
This is how you make
This
stars.
is how you become a fellow.
What?
You wear turbans. Except I don't know
You're
why.
not British.
I have a
You're
British
fine.
accent.
And you're white.
And I'm white. That's enough. That's enough. Get out. We also agree with Kenneth McLeish.
I said.